Hi, my name is Amanda Finley, and my poster is titled The Relationship Among Perfectionism, Perceived Stress, and Coping in Baccalaureate Nursing Students. Nursing school is stressful. The transition from school to practice is perhaps even more so as students struggle to apply all that they've learned in nursing school while simultaneously discovering that they still have a great deal to learn. Perfectionism is a concept that describes high personal expectations for performance. While some perfectionism can be adaptive, leading to high achievement and success, maladaptive perfectionism can lead to increased stress and the incessant need to meet unrealistically high expectations of oneself. It's associated with long-term psychological alterations, including stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout. While perfectionism has been studied in general populations of students, the incidence of perfectionism in a strictly nursing student population has not been studied to a great extent. This descriptive correlational study included 184 BSN students from a large public urban university and was aimed at determining the incidence of perfectionism and the relationship among perfectionism, stress, and coping in a BSN student population. 57.6%, over half the sample, identified as maladaptive perfectionists, with a 21% identifying as adaptive perfectionists and non-perfectionists, respectively. The participants were broken into 3 age groups, and since the groups were unequal in size, they were weighted and a chi-square analysis was conducted by age group. This analysis revealed a significant finding that maladaptive perfectionism was less common in the older age groups than in the younger ones. The relationship between coping and perfectionism was examined using Pearson's correlation coefficient. Perceived stress was positively correlated with maladaptive perfectionism, and maladaptive perfectionism was significantly positively correlated with the use of denial, self-blame, behavioral disengagement, and venting, indicating that the use of these coping mechanisms was associated with increased stress. There was also a significant correlation with self-blame and behavioral disengagement in the adaptive and non-perfectionist groups, suggesting that these dysfunctional coping mechanisms may be more common in a nursing student population. There was a negative significant correlation with active coping and positive reframing, such that as the use of these coping skills went up, perceived stress decreased in maladaptive perfectionists. There was not a significant correlation with the use of emotional support, informational support, planning, or acceptance for maladaptive perfectionists, suggesting that these may be coping mechanisms they aren't using and could indicate an area for skills development in this group. All of these findings indicate that nursing students are experiencing a great deal of stress, but further indicate that maladaptive perfectionists may experience this stress to a greater extent than their adaptive and non-perfectionist counterparts. With all of this in mind, it's important that those who work in nursing education and in practice better understand the concept of perfectionism, what it is, and how it impacts these students and eventually new nurses entering practice. These students experience higher levels of stress and cope with it less effectively than non-perfectionists. Not only could this impact their ability to successfully complete nursing programs, but may also lead to early career attrition as they try to adjust to a very imperfect and stressful world. Nurse educators may consider incorporating stress management teaching into curricula, and those who work in practice may consider including the same in the orientations and residency programs that new graduates participate in. It may even be advantageous to screen for perfectionism and measure baseline coping at the start of a nursing program and/or new GN positions, not to exclude potential candidates, but rather to allow both the person and those who work with them to better understand where there may be a need for development.